Good evening, Hofstra fans, and welcome to an all-new episode of Sports Beat. I'm your host, Lewis Grosso, and we got a jam-packed episode for you. We'll be talking about all things NFL, NBA, MLB, and wrapping up the NHL with David Lazar. But first, joining me to discuss the American League are Connor Rownin and Crystal Bermudez. Guys, I'm so excited to get into this discussion. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty well today. Had a good morning, good day at classes. Feeling pretty good about myself.
I'm doing pretty good as well. I'm looking forward to talking about this postseason discussion right now.
Absolutely. I'm so excited as well because, guys, the MLB playoffs are back. The wild card series have concluded, and that means that we have 4 total American League teams left in the race. So if we take a look at the ALDS series that we got 2 main series, and that's the Yankees going up against the Rays, where the series is tied at 1 apiece, and the Astros going up against the Athletics, where the Astros are up 2-1. Now, looking at the remaining AL teams, which 2 teams do you guys believe will be victorious and meet each other in the ALCS?
Well, personally, I think that the Yankees and Astros are going to be the teams that meet each other in the ALCS. Let's first look at the Yankees and the Rays. Both have very impressive bullpens. However, I believe that the Yankees have a much stronger lineup. Look at what they're able to do against very good pitchers in late game. The first series out of 3 against the Indians, Shane Bieber, they completely tore him up, and he had an ERA of 1.63 coming into the postseason. You can even look at Blake Snell on the Rays. They tore him apart too. That was game 1 in the series. Let's look at the A's and Astros. In my opinion, the A's really do not deserve the number 2 seed, and the Astros are going to come out victorious. They both have very good pitching as well, but the Astros are just built as a playoff team.
I would have to agree with Connor on this one too. My eyes are on the New York Yankees and Houston Astros. The Yankees have a powerhouse in terms of hitting. For example, last night we saw Giancarlo Stanton, who was at the plate, was able to hit a home run at a pitch coming at 118.3 miles per hour. And other than that, you have the Astros, who also previously were in the playoffs, so they have some experience from that too. So having the Yankees up right now in wins leaves these 2 teams possibly to face each other head-to-head.
Absolutely, and when you take a look at these ALDS matchups, I think it's really hard to deny that there is a new rivalry between the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, we're all really used to seeing the Yankees and the Red Sox go at it throughout the entirety of the season, going at it for the number 1 seed in the AL East. But surprisingly this year, the Rays took over that job and have been bitter rivals with the Bronx Bombers. And they've had a massive chip on their shoulder as they head into the postseason this year. So do you believe that the Rays could win it all this year if they're able to potentially knock off their rival Bronx Bombers?
Even if the Rays happen to beat the Yankees in the series, I will, for one, think they'll have a difficult time against the Astros, and I think they'll have an even more difficult time if they make it into the World Series. In my opinion, I think the Dodgers are going to come on top in the NLCS, and the Dodgers lineup is arguably the best in the postseason. Let's look at what they got. They have Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts, and even Justin Turner. Mookie Betts exceeded my expectations this season, having a comeback year after being traded from the Red Sox. Also, while the Rays bullpen is statistically better than the Dodgers, I believe the Dodgers will come out on top in this matchup.
Well, last night's game with Tyler Glasnow, the pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays, you were able to see that the Rays defensively are solid in the pitching aspect, with Glasnow striking out 10 batters, which set the Rays' postseason record, which is an important aspect in baseball because if your players aren't producing and putting the ball in play, how then are you supposed to get those home runs that you do need? And realistically, I do think that the Dodgers have too good of a lineup for the Rays to beat. You have Clayton Kershaw, who's been doing great all year, hitting his spots. Then you have Cody Bellinger becoming a key player against the Padres in the game last night. So I think the Rays will definitely face a challenge going against the Dodgers.
Yeah, and when you take a look at this season, it's been extremely difficult to handle the pandemic and trying to keep players safe and trying to follow all the protocols with COVID-19. And one of the changes in this protocol is that series like the ALDS are played at a neutral site rather than playing at the home stadiums. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that what effect do you think that has over the ALDS series, playing at a neutral site rather than having home field advantage? Do you think that it's more fair?
Well, even before the neutral site was an idea, I thought having no fans to begin with was 10 times easier. And now that you're adding a neutral site into it, it's even easier. Live fans make such a difference in sports, especially a sport like baseball, where you can make a rally easily and easily make a comeback. And now that it's at a neutral site, everyone's playing on the same dirt, same grass. I truly think that it is an even playing field for every single team.
Yeah, just bouncing off what Connor said here, you know, home field advantage can help players make plays they wouldn't normally make. There is definitely a sense of more added pressure with fans, and it's tougher to concentrate for the away team who doesn't know the field as well as the home team. So playing the ALDS series at a neutral site allows for teams to be more in tune with the game, being able to have a fair match, and this gives an advantage to both teams, and it's just playing with what you got, you know?
Absolutely, and in a regular season, it is so hard to deny that home field advantage does not give you does not make you better when you're playing, especially in the postseason. And obviously, we could look back at last year. You look at the Houston Astros, their entire cheating scandal. That wouldn't have been possible if they weren't having those games, most of the games at Minute Maid Park at their home field. And that leads me into my last question here. What effect do you think it would have over the entire baseball community if the Astros knocked off the number 2 seed Athletics and possibly made a return to the World Series? Would baseball fans see this as redemption for the team, or would there be overwhelming anger because of their infamous cheating scandal?
Well, see, I think I could speak for myself as well as many others that I am angered by the fact that the Astros are in the postseason to begin with. Let alone if they beat the A's and make it to the World Series, I'll be even more angered. But I think this is a shot for whoever the Astros play against to redeem the MLB as a whole, to knock off the Astros, show them that they don't deserve that title. It's a way, whoever the Astros play, I believe that they will be so riled up to win the World Series more than ever.
I think that if the Astros made a comeback to the World Series, there can be an obvious tension. We can potentially see fans becoming more bitter towards the Astros if they knock off the number 2 seed Athletics. As for the Astros, being able to say that it isn't necessary for fans, they might be using this as redemption, being able to say, you know, we can play this game, we don't have to cheat, and be able to carry that pridefully.
To your point, we've seen that in post-game interviews ever since the postseason has started. The Astros have been playing well, and you can't deny that. And you also can't deny that they might be using all of this anger and this hate as fuel to win. And that could potentially be dangerous for people who don't want to see the Astros make it deep into the playoffs this year. And that's going to end things here. I want to thank my panelists, Connor and Crystal. I'm Lewis Grosso. Don't go anywhere because Sports Beat will be right back.